Welcome you back to Daytona, the Camping World 300. Season opener for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Beautiful day here in Daytona. Great crowd on hand. And seeing quite a show here early on. 3 Toyotas up front. Tony Stewart, his teammate Kyle Busch, and Brian Vickers out of the Todd Braun Racing Stables. Vickers, a former series champion here in the 10 car. Behind them, a couple of Chevrolets, the 8 of Martin Truex Jr. and last year's winner, Kevin Harvick. The first Dodge, by the way, is the 9 car. Casey Kane has moved now all the way up to 6th position.
I think this type of racing is something that Casey is really coming kind of into his own. I think the first couple of times that he was here, he wasn't exactly sure what he wanted to do and what he wanted to accomplish, but he's found that feeling that he knows how to use the draft a lot better, and he's becoming a lot more competitive. There's my 88 car making his way up towards the front.
Yeah, we showed you a little bit ago. He had his hands full coming out of turn 4, trying to hold off the likes of Stephen Wallace for the pass. Well, a lap later, his boss, Earnhardt Jr. on the back, and watch again in turn 4.
He's driving it hard. There's no doubt about that. Goes on and makes the pass there with his boss helping him. So if he's trying to impress him, he's doing a pretty good job so far. But it looks like he might be just a little bit on the free side there. Yeah, that might be something in trying to run the same setup that Junior has, but he might not be ready for that yet. I mean, you know, Junior has figured out exactly how far he can take it with his setup here. So Brad might have to adjust on that a little bit, but he's doing a great job.
A lot of these guys will set their cars up fairly loose or free where that back end slides like that, because later in these runs, that right front tire starts giving up on them and starts pushing. So, you know, the veteran drivers like Earnhardt, they can handle that. They can handle a loose car till the track does change or that tire wears. But, boy, she's a handful.
Yeah, Earnhardt Jr., the 5 car, was behind him. Now he's made the pass and moved on around. He's being shown up in 16th position and trying to make a move around the 1 car. Has had a pretty good start.
You know what he's found? He's found that outside groove, and he's about 3 feet higher than any cars running through those corners. I think he's found a little grip up there.
Yeah, the best way to go forward is go where nobody is, and he's doing exactly that. Nobody's up there where he is. He keeps such momentum going like that. And, you know, he has a really good knack of being able to drive a car and not give it a lot of wheel, and that's what you're doing there. So, and as you well know, as you tell the drivers all the time, you don't turn that wheel because you're just scrubbing off speed, and he can carry a lot of momentum from there.
Dave Burns, you can add?
Yeah, and DJ, I think he scrubbed off with just a little bit of speed along the way here somewhere, because he described his car in 2 different ways. He said fun to drive, that was the first part, and then dirt tracking, which means the back end got out a little bit on this 2.5-mile oval.
Well, that's the thing. He probably is just as loose as that 88 car, Keselowski, but he's not showing it. He's not taking it over that edge.
Well, yeah, what you saw was Brad. He's a little bit off the wall, so he's got to put a little bit more wheel into it, and in doing that, he's going to break the back end loose a little bit more. So those are things that he'll learn as we go through this race in particular day. But there again, these guys are seeing track temperatures 30 degrees higher than what they saw in practice. So that, I'm sure that's contributing to a lot of it.
What about last year's series champion, Carl Edwards? We talked again at the beginning of the show. He's going to run for the title again this year. He started the 60 car back in 26th position. He is now being shown in 24th, only gained a couple of spots here in 17 laps.
I don't know that he's really concerned about that right at this point. Even though the race has gotten spread out a little bit more than what we are typically used to here, I think Carl's still okay. You know, they got no practice after the accident that they were in with this car. I'm sure he was just filling things out.
And I'm not surprised at all that these cars have spread out some, because, like you said, start of the race, this track has changed so much since they last practiced that they really don't know what kind of handle they got on their cars.
Yeah, Dale mentioned the accident. If your folks aren't aware, in the final practice session, Carl Edwards involved in an incident not of his own doing, but the whole right side sheet metal had to be replaced on his car he is driving today. Well, speaking of driving away, that 20 car, Tony Stewart, I mean, you knew he was tough. He put up a great number in qualifying. They put it on the pole, and he has won here twice. His only 2 wins in nationwide competition have come, guess where? Right here in 2005 and 2006. Stewart, Busch, Truex, Vickers, and Boyer in the top 5. We welcome you back to the Camping World 300 at Daytona. Aerial coverage from high above Daytona International Speedway, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear. Get there on triple tread technology. 21 of 120 laps complete. 4 Toyotas in the top 6 as now Denny Hamlin joins the fray. And one of the early casualties here at Daytona is the 64 car. There is David Stremiol. He came all the way from the back of the pack. Stremi started 41st, gained 24 positions in the first 10 laps, and now is headed to the garage area.
We saw him come down pit road with smoke coming out the exhaust pipes. The crew raised the hood to see if they could fix it, but looks like this thing might be terminal for David.
Plans on running the full season in that 64. The car does. He's going to run 18 to 20. They're going to put Chase Austin in it, the young driver from the NASCAR East Series.
David went out to qualify yesterday, broke a transmission. I don't know if this engine failure might be related to that.
Speaking of David Stremi, Jamie Little is caught up with him.
And he's still in the car as the team goes to work. David, what happened?
Well, yesterday we had that transmission problem, and the motor, it hit our high RPMs, and they checked everything this morning and thought it would be okay, but we dropped a cylinder or something, and it's real unfortunate because Nature's Home Chevrolet was pretty good, just like it was in practice, and we were just kind of found a spot to ride in until we could pit, and it's just a shame. So we'll see if they can fix whatever it is, which I doubt it, and get back out there.
All right, David Stremi making his first start for Rusty Wallace. Too bad for Stephen Wallace, guys. He doesn't have his drafting partner out there.
He does not, and Jamie, we've got a new leader out here as the 18 car. Teammate to Tony Stewart pulls by, and Kyle Busch goes sailing by with Martin Truex in tow.
I think this is definitely a sign of the track's getting real slick. Tony's been running the bottom of the racetrack. No problem leading the race, and I think once that thing started sliding a little bit, he wanted to go and try a different groove, and when he did that, it just kind of opened it up for this 18 car to go by.
Yeah, I think this part of that, and Tony may want to get back there and say, okay, if I can't lead every lap of this race, I need to see exactly what my car is going to do. So before we get to that point of making a pit stop, do I need to make any kind of adjustments? I know I'm good out front. What do I need to do if I'm behind cars?
Would you do that? I mean, just to give up the lead to go back there and play with your car a little bit?
Yeah, I was just kind of stretching that a little bit, and knowing Tony Stewart, that's not what happened either. It's just, it sounded good for a minute. Yeah.
We saw how the effects of 2 cars working together allowed them to go past Tony Stewart. Let's show you with the air exactly how that works in the draft with our draft track.
And we see Bobby Labonte there in that 21. He's leading Matt Kenseth. You see, once they get close enough, they go into that lock where you see it goes just solid white. What does that feel like?
Yeah, like you just gave me about 50 horsepower is exactly what it feels like. I mean, that's what you're looking for, and that's why you see these guys run up to that car in front, and they make 2 cars make a smaller hole there. That air is not coming around and creating problems for them. And now we can see what this dirty air will do. Looks like these guys might need some more bracing in their hood. This is really not a good situation. We try to make everything on these race cars stay as still as possible, especially in the front, right?
That looks very violent. Yeah, we do try to make that just as solid as you can make it. But can you feel that kind of buffeting in the hood?
I don't know that you can really feel that as a driver, but I think what it's doing is that, it's making that air attach and then have to reattach back, and so you're not getting the full force. But, a lot of times what we're trying to do is keep that air off the spoiler. That might be something by design that they happen to run upon.
We've tried some crazy things in the wind tunnel before, letting panels move around. That could be something that they found.
How far back can you actually, as a driver, begin to feel the aid of the draft?
With the aero package that these guys have, because they're making such a big hole, because they run the wicker across the front of the roof there, you can actually be back about 6 or 8 car lengths, and you really can start feeling your RPMs pick up. And that's with no help behind you. If you get some help behind you, you can you can feel it from literally 20 car lengths back, and you can see it and feel it start picking you up.
So Buddy Baker was right in the old days, said if you could see him, you can draft him.
That's exactly right. When we're down here testing and things, if we can see another car, we're a little bit skeptical as to whether that lap was exactly what we had or not, because you can get some help.
I like this telemetry right here. We could hear Clint Boyer having to get completely out of the gas there for a minute to get his car to settle down. And now Tony Stewart has slipped back to 5th spot and getting ready to lose another spot here to Clint Boyer. This one, these guys have to earn their money when this track gets slick.
Yeah, this is, again, totally different than the conditions they practiced under. So these guys, as glad as they probably are right now, and I know you fans watching would want us to be having side-by-side close racing all the time, these guys are kind of happy that they've got some room to work right now until they can make that first pit stop. And then we're going to see exciting racing before this is all over with.
I'd rather see them all over each other. 3 wide, 4 deep.